To me, honestly, the word overlanding is meaningless. I think we get caught up in putting ourselves into silos so we can define what is us and what is them. So overlanding to me is just a word someone else came up with that we use to partially describe the adventures we pursue. I think you could just as easily say we pursue off-road adventure or full-wheeled exploration or simply car camping. I don't really care what it's called. But we use the term overlanding because that's the word that's most widely recognized for vehicle-based exploration. Overlanding to me, though, is essentially sightseeing. We want to go see something different, have a different kind of experience. And that's best provided for by using our Jeep and venturing out into the wilder parts of the world.
Whatever the reason, overlanding gives you an opportunity to explore the world and learn from it. But what is overlanding? We are enthusiasts of overlanding and we want to share the humble knowledge we have built up on this matter.
It is our hope by doing so that we can help you explore the world and learn from it. What is overlanding to us? And more importantly, what is it to you?
I'm Christoph and my channel is Get Out Go. It's about Southern Africa overlanding and camping, and more specifically getting out there and finding remote bush camps that are really nice.
My name is Monique and I run the channel Overland Lady. On my channel I post mostly solo remote travel with my Land Cruiser. I do have some exciting new builds coming, so if you would like to follow on, feel free to give it a sub.
My name is Will, and I have a YouTube channel called Venture to Roam, where we go on epic adventures, we do rig modifications and installs, gear reviews, and then we do some creative content where we just celebrate the overlanding lifestyle. I'm based out of Idaho in the United States, in the lower 48 states, which is a place that is super remote, super wild. We have a lot of public land and not a lot of people. So we tend to venture out to those wilder places. If that's something that you're interested in, I'd love for you to come check out our channel. If you like the videos that you see there, we'd love to have you as a subscriber.
I started overlanding long before it was called overlanding. It was just called camping. I started with my parents from a young age, and that was before the days of all this cool gear and rooftop tents. It was ground tents in the middle of nowhere usually, and I think that's really where my love for overlanding started.
So Chris, who's my best buddy, drugged me out. And I think I made like every noob mistake in the book, including slicing my finger open and having to go to the emergency room to get stitches. But I caught the bug. I caught that feeling, that connection that only happens when you're out there. And so Kate, who's probably the best partner a guy like me could hope for, decided to try it out with me. And to our great amazement, she had the same feeling. And we've been chasing that feeling, I guess, ever since.
So how I started it, honestly, I fell into it. A couple of years ago when I left my corporate job, and that didn't make me happy, I went to Australia, sort of did a young people thing where they didn't know what they want to do with their life. They have the opportunity to go through working holiday visa to live in another country with the opportunity of working to earn some money to support their travel. So I did that, traveled Australia for a whole year. I bought my Land Cruiser in Sydney after I landed there and sort of just fell in love. Once you're in Australia, it's pretty difficult to not get a little bit of camping in you. And once you're in the outback, the culture, the lifestyle sucked me right in, and I just never wanted to stop. And it was only after coming back when COVID broke out and the idea of overlanding or car camping started to bloom in North America. That's when I realized, when I look into the definition, oh, I guess that's considered overlanding. You're going to places that obviously have a different culture than your hometown, and you're living on the road, living off of a self-sufficient vehicle. And it's not about gear. At that time, I didn't have dual battery set up. I didn't have a fridge. I didn't have electrical. I didn't have a lot of things. That just goes to say it is the journey, it is the places that you've been to that matters the most.
How does it feel when I'm out here? When I'm out here, I truly feel alive. I used to be a corporate exec for about 20 odd years, and thankfully at some point I realized I was living somebody else's dream. At this point, I completely changed my life, and the biggest factor of that was overlanding. It was to get out there. And that's how I started my YouTube channel as well.
Okay, so so when we're out here, like right now, it's raining, and all I can tell you is you feel more alive. It's a primal feeling that's based on survival and thriving, I think. Everything feels different. And I don't mean that in like the poetic sense. I mean, it feels different. Like the air feels different. You hear things differently. You see things differently. It's a totally different way of being in the world. You notice when the sun goes down, that gust of wind that happens when the air temperature changes because the sun's no longer there. You look at the clouds in a different way because you're wondering if you're gonna get rained on, like right now we're getting rained on. You know, it's just, you just feel differently. And then when you come back to the on-grid world, I think you take a little bit of that with you. And that's pretty cool.
Being out there makes me feel free. I guess that's sort of the reason why after coming back from Australia, I kept doing it. Not only it makes me feel free, but most importantly, especially on those solo trips, it makes me feel capable. That I can actually take the steering wheel, both physically and literally, the steering wheel of my life, and control where I wanted to go, get to where I plan to go, or if I can't get there, I still have the option to change path and do something that's better for the day. It's almost spiritual in a way that, the reason that I left corporate was because that I felt I wasn't in control of my life. I wasn't living my life. I was living off a script that others say this should be it. Whereas being out there now, everything is on my own. I plan my own route. I execute my own trip. I faced all the difficulty and deal with the problems myself with my own hand. And I get to share the stories afterwards and hopefully encouraging more people.
A lot of times when you want to visit a place, you'll do some research, you look online, and you'll find this sort of 3 arbitrary pictures, and those usually look great. And a lot of times, especially remote locations, there's no information about it. So I started a channel focusing on bush camps in southern Africa, really finding these locations and then reviewing them. This later sort of evolved into trip videos as well, and just sharing my general experience.
So I've always been a creative person, and when we started going out, I wanted to try to capture that feeling, that soul of a trip. And I don't have any formal training in video production or filmmaking or any of that stuff, but I wanted to try, so I just started experimenting. And YouTube is a place that inspired me, and it's a place where I learned a lot initially, and so it seemed like a natural platform to try these experiments. Now we have a little bit of an audience, which is crazy for me to think about, but also really exciting. It makes me want to do an even better job, keep improving the quality and finding that story. So it's been a really fun ride so far.
And in terms of what I started YouTube, it's not like a one-day thing where I wake up and thought, I want to be a YouTuber. I've always liked creating memories and collecting memories. I've been journaling since I was 9, and I still journal every day. Now I have so many notebooks of them now. I started with taking photos and started posting photos online, and then once I felt photos are not enough, I started to blog with more words describing the day of the shoot or what's behind the story of the scene. So sort of I started blogging with photo, and once I started going off-roading, photos don't really do the justice of how steep the hill is and this scenery we're seeing, the places we've been to. So that's where video sort of came in, and I started to learn how to film a video. And at first, especially while in Australia, most of my videos was just to show my parents, show my family back in Canada, these are the things that I've been doing, and I guess in a way to tell them I am living fine by myself out there.
I get sort of a mixed reaction to what I do. A lot of people thought I was completely nuts, leaving a very stable, job. And fair enough, the money was good. But like I mentioned, it's just, at the end of the day, it wasn't me. And this really gave me the opportunity to explore Southern Africa. And like I mentioned before, to really get to know myself as well.
I think, for the most part, our friends and family want to join us. I think it's cool. I'm sure there's people out there who think that we're out of our minds, and that's very understandable. But I've had occasions where friends have flown into Boise to ride along with me in my Jeep and go on an adventure, and that adventure changed them too. And now they're going out and they're seeing that there's another world out there. So we've had a lot of support and a little fear. We make sure we stay in contact and keep everyone updated where we are through our GPS communication devices. But for the most part, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a new way to hang out with friends and a new way to have experiences with family.
At first, obviously, especially going out alone, my parents were quite concerned. As a daughter, going out alone, you are putting a lot of stress on your parents, I will say that. And trying to be more responsible for people that care about you is, I guess, my tips for people that wanted to do this. I am not just, hey, bye, I'm off, I'm having fun. You can worry about whatever you want to worry, it has nothing to do with me. No, I'm not saying that. I'm still being responsible for people that care about me. This is where satellite communication comes in handy, and make sure that you assure them that you have the quality and you have the skills of handling yourself out there. Just turn it on and tell the parents I'm still alive.
The number one thing I've learned outside of just technical education on recovery and vehicle maintenance and camping and survival and all that stuff is really that I get to own my own experience. It's mine, and I can choose to share it, which we do often, but it doesn't belong to YouTube. It doesn't belong to the comment section. It doesn't belong to what other people are putting up on Facebook and Instagram. It's my experience. It's mine. I get to own it. And I don't care how they define what overlanding is or car camping or whatever. That's meaningless to me. It's my experience, and it's amazing, and I get to own it. So that's my biggest takeaway so far.
And throughout this, even though most of my trips are solo, this one huge lesson I learned is the value of people. People around you, people that care about you, don't ever take it for granted. Especially when I was on solo trip. The people that care about me and then asking me, getting my updates, or even giving me suggestions of what to see around there. The real MVP cares about you when you're not around them physically. And the people that lend you a helping hand on the road while you're in trouble, or even when you're not in trouble, just checking in. I am so grateful for all of those.
The number one piece of advice I can give new overlanders is to keep it simple. You don't need all of this gear to get out there. Sure, you want to be safe. You want to drive within your vehicle's capabilities and within your experience level, but not having a snorkel shouldn't stop you from going to Namibia. I've actually heard this before. It's not about the gear. As you progress, you'll build the gear as you need it, and you can find what works and what doesn't. My vehicle I've built over 5 years. It's not like I went out there and kitted it and that's it and off we go overland. It's really about starting small. Start with smaller trips, maybe more sort of civilized camp spots close to home, and then venture out further and further. And as you do this, you'll find what's the actual gear you need to be comfortable, to be safe. It's about taking your vehicle and finding great locations and the journey to those great locations as well.
If someone wanted to try this for the first time right now, I would say start small. So get some safety stuff. So if you're going to go off grid, which you don't have to, but if you're going to go off grid, make sure that you have some kind of a GPS communication device. Make sure you have a good first aid kit. We use ours all the time. And then go someplace easy first. So the first place Kate and I went to was a state park that was like 45 minutes away from our front door. So we could bug out in the middle of the night if things went wrong. And by the way, we've done that before. And then see if you like it. And then maybe venture a little bit farther out. Maybe try a dispersed campground. See if you like that. And then start learning about what you want out of this experience. And if it's really remote places, well then that's when I think you really lean in and you start learning a lot. You start studying what the maps are, where you can go, where you can't go, what's public land, what's state land, what's private land, all the different rules for dispersed camping, and then learn about the land that you're on, learn about the wildlife there, the plants and trees, learn what to do if you have encounters with wildlife. You know, all those things that you don't know about that might scare you a little bit. That's where I think you lean in and you educate yourself. So when you're out there and you experience something, you have a good base of knowledge in which to choose how to react or choose how to behave.
So yeah, being out there, especially solo, I would say there are certain skills that you do need to gain to be able to, I guess, make it happen. From the very beginning, when I went to Australia, it was basically zero, except some, I guess, off-roading experience from back when I had a Jeep in Canada. But really, in terms of trip planning, navigation, especially recovery, very lacking. You sort of gain it with time. In Australia, the good thing is they have a lot of guidebooks that tell you certain tracks that you can go and then what's around it that you can see, some highlighted spots that you can go check out. So it was sort of a soft, smooth start for me to get into finding route and planning trips. And then the more remote trip I've gone on, the farther I've been, the more time I spend on road. Those experiences sort of just came all together.
What do you need to overland in Africa? To overland or self-drive in Africa, there are a few things to consider. Logistics probably being the prime one. There's a lot of times it's long distances between fuel stops. If you cross the central Kalahari, for instance, you need at least 1,200 kilometers worth of fuel. Also, the time it takes to travel those distances, 120 kilometers might take you a whole day to do. Then, as opposed to what a lot of people believe, it is not this war zone, crime-ridden place. You have to be aware of your surroundings, especially in towns. That's the reality of it. But like I mentioned, it's not a war zone, right?
Okay, if you're thinking about coming out to Idaho, you should know that Idaho is made up of the land that no one else wanted. It was settled by fur trappers and traders and gold miners, and it's a place that has a lot of space and not a lot of people. And so you have to embrace that pioneer spirit, that lone wolf kind of culture that's here, and then know that you're kind of on your own out here. It's a place where you can really, really get lost. And there is everything from deserts to forested mountains to rocky mountains, rivers, lakes. You know, there's enough stuff to keep you busy your whole life, and there's enough places to get lost that you might never come back. And that's why we love it so much.
Currently, and in the past few bit of time because of COVID, we've been just stuck in BC and exploring what's around in this area. So if you ever want to come in BC, my suggestion is come in the fall. BC is so big. Try to go northern BC or Caribou area, so like middle BC. There's so much history originated from gold mining, and the color is just so pretty in the fall. Maybe since you're here in the fall and up north, might as well just going to Yukon, going to Alaska, check out the Arctic before they get super, super cold and snowy.
We overland because it presents us with beautiful problems. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, there are problems that you have to solve. Eating, sleeping, shelter, safety, communications. These are all things that we take for granted in the comfort and safety of our four walls at home, inside our social circles and society. But when you're 80 miles from another human, making dinner's a problem because you only have what you brought with you. Sleeping's a problem because you're at the mercy of Mother Nature. Safety's a problem because you have to handle everything on your own, and there's no way to tell what's going to happen when you're out there. And communications are a problem because you're literally disconnected. There's no way to connect to the outside world. So I think what happens to us when we're out is that these problems, which are all solvable with the right approach and gear, they take up all of our focus and coordination. So it forces our minds to be in the present. And that, combined with seeking out beautiful locations in our world, creates this connection to the present, this connection to the natural world that I think fundamentally changes how we exist. And that is what drives us to keep going out.
In terms of overlanding, the definition of overlanding, I would like to trace back to Overland Journal that pinned the definition of overlanding.
Please allow me to read it to you. Overlanding describes self-reliant adventure travel to remote destinations where the journey is the primary goal, typically but not exclusively accommodated by mechanized off-highway capable transport, from bicycles to trucks, where the principal form of lodging is camping, often lasting for extended lengths of time, months to years, and often spanning international boundaries. While expedition is defined as a journey with a purpose, overlanding sees the journey as the purpose.
So what is overlanding? Overlanding is vehicle-dependent adventure travel, yeah? More than that though, for me personally, it's about exploring these remote places. It's about connecting with nature, and I think the most important one, it's about connecting to yourself. A lot of times overlanding will put you out of your comfort zone. And this is usually where you grow. So it's all of these things together. It's being out here, it's getting here, but it's also understanding myself in this space.